Welcome to an engaging journey through the life of Dwayne Johnson. In Dwayne Johnson, icon beyond the ring. Today, you'll hear about his inspiring transformation from a wrestling icon to a global superstar. This story highlights themes of perseverance, identity, and ambition, all wrapped in a dynamic and reflective narrative. As you listen, any complex vocabulary or notable grammar constructs will be briefly explained in line, ensuring a smooth and enjoyable experience. So sit back and enjoy this tale of resilience and adaptability as we explore how Dwayne defies industry expectations to redefine his legacy. Dwayne stood center stage in the wrestling arena, surrounded by the cacophony, meaning loud mixture, of the roaring crowd. The air was electric, charged with the fervor of thousands of voices chanting his name. Each cheer seemed to vibrate through his veins, a testament to his superlative, meaning surpassing all others, performance. Yet, beneath his confident facade, meaning exterior, he battled a familiar fear. The dread of being typecast shadowed his every move, whispering doubts about his ability to transcend the ring. The crowd's enthusiasm was intoxicating, a tide that buoyed his ambition, yet also served as a stark reminder of the narrow confines of his current identity. He yearned for a broader legacy, one that extended beyond the scripted narratives and predetermined outcomes of wrestling. As the chants rose like a wave, he felt an insistent prickle of sweat beneath the glaring spotlights. It was a tactile reminder of both his success and the constraints that accompanied it. Backstage, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The noise of the arena faded to a muted hum, replaced by the quiet murmur of crew members and the subtle thrum of anticipation. Here, in the hushed corridors behind the curtain, a more intimate scene unfolded. Ava Martinez, his publicist and confidant, stood waiting with a clipboard in hand. Her demeanor was pragmatic, her gaze steady as she approached him. "Dwayne," she started, her voice cutting through the silence with an easy familiarity. "That was incredible out there. But I've been thinking, what's next for you?" Her question hung in the air, a tangible prompt for introspection, meaning self-reflection. He paused, the weight of her inquiry settling over him. "I want more, Ava," he confessed, his voice tinged with determination. "Not just more matches or accolades, meaning honors, but more meaning, I want to break out of this mold." Ava nodded, her expression softening with understanding. "You've built an empire in this world," she acknowledged, "but maybe it's time to redefine it on your terms." "What does that look like?" Dwayne hesitated, the words forming slowly as he grappled with the enormity of his aspirations. "I see myself in films, maybe even producing. But it's not just about fame. I want to tell stories that matter, stories that inspire." Her eyes met his, a mixture of challenge and support. "You've always been driven, Dwayne. But to get there, we need to be strategic. No one's going to hand you a new identity. You'll have to carve it out." Her practical advice resonated, a reminder that dreams required not just vision, but meticulous planning. Had he allowed himself to linger too long in the comfort of routine, past perfect continuous for background context, he wondered. He knew the risks of complacency, the danger of letting the cheers of the crowd lull him into inertia. Ava, ever perceptive, seemed to read his thoughts. "Don't let the fear of being typecast define you," she urged gently. "Use it as fuel to propel you forward." His jaw set with resolve, a charismatic glint igniting in his eyes. "You're right," he replied, his voice firm. "I'm ready to take on the next chapter." The decision made, a subtle energy coursed between them. Ava's encouragement was unwavering, a steady beacon guiding him through the uncertainty. As they spoke, the backstage hum continued, a backdrop to their shared ambition. Dwayne felt the first stirrings of excitement for what lay ahead, a tantalizing blend of possibility and challenge. The path to transformation wouldn't be easy, but it was a journey he was prepared to undertake. As they left the corridor together, his mind buzzed with ideas, fueled by Ava's words and his own renewed determination. Outside, the fervor of the crowd lingered, a distant echo that underscored the vastness of his potential. The arena, once daunting in its noise and expectations, now felt like a gateway, a place where the first steps toward his broader ambitions had been made. In the silence following their conversation, a thought crystallized, a hook drawing him towards an uncharted future. What if the stories he wanted to tell were already beginning to unfold within him, waiting only for the right moment to surface? The cafe bustled with life, the aroma of fresh coffee wafting through the air as dishes clinked in a constant rhythm. Ava sat across from Dwayne, her fingers wrapped around a steaming mug. Her eyes sparkled with determination as she leaned forward. "Dwayne, have you ever thought about acting?" she asked, her tone a blend of curiosity and encouragement. Dwayne looked up from his cappuccino, a quizzical smile playing on his lips. "Acting? Me?" He chuckled, the deep sound resonating like a gentle roll of thunder. "Why not?" Ava persisted, her voice steady. "You have the presence for it." He paused, the cafe chatter dimming as his mind turned inward. Dwayne's nature was multifaceted, meaning having many aspects. He was not just a wrestler, he was a performer, a powerhouse. Yet, there was an artist somewhere beneath. Outside, the distant rumble of traffic merged with his thoughts, a reminder of the world that continued beyond his current path. Ava's voice cut through the haze. "Imagine the roles you could take on, the stories you could tell," she said, painting a picture of possibilities with her words. "It could be a new chapter for you." Pragmatic encouragement was Ava's forte. She had seen him through countless battles in the ring and knew the strength it took to pivot one's path. "Yes, there are risks," she acknowledged, "but think of the potential benefits. A film career could redefine your legacy." Dwayne nodded, yet a shadow of asterisk apprehension, meaning anxiety or fear about the future, loomed. Typecasting was a real fear. Could he transcend the image of a wrestler? The thought of stepping into the unknown tugged at him, a subtle undercurrent of doubt. His mind drifted to a brief flashback, an echo of industry skepticism that had been a constant companion. The past, perfect, continuous for background, had been doubting, revealed a history where others had questioned wrestlers, transitions to film. Dwayne had heard the whispers, had seen the raised eyebrows. Such doubts were not easily dismissed. Yet here he sat, a decisive moment upon him. Ava's words struck a chord, echoing in the chambers of his heart. She believed in his potential to be audacious, meaning showing willingness to take bold risks. His legacy was not etched in stone. It was a narrative still being written. He took a deep breath, the air rich with the scent of espresso, and nodded slowly, his resolve crystallizing. The cafe's noise seemed to fade, leaving a hopeful silence in its wake, a precursor to the audacious journey ahead. In that moment, Dwayne realized that the world of acting was not an escape, but an expansion. It was a chance to redefine himself, to prove that resilience was not just about physical strength, but also about embracing new realms. The silence of the cafe enveloped them like a cocoon, filled with the promise of what could be. As Dwayne met Ava's gaze, he saw an ally in her, someone who would walk this new path with him. The possibilities were endless, and the world was waiting. The subtle hook lay in the quiet confidence that settled between them, an unspoken agreement that this was just the beginning. Dwayne stepped into the stark, fluorescent-lit audition room. The harsh light reflected off the polished wooden floor, casting elongated shadows that seemed to stretch toward him with every step. He felt the weight of industry stereotypes pressing down on him, a familiar burden. To many in this room, he was just another wrestler attempting to pivot into acting. They rarely saw beyond the muscles and the fame accrued from years in the wrestling ring. The murmurs of casting directors buzzed in the background, underscoring their expectations to pigeonhole, meaning restrict him as a mere entertainer, not a serious actor. Dwayne knew the script by heart, not just the lines on the page, but the unwritten narrative that followed him everywhere. Ava, his steadfast ally, stood by the door, her presence a lighthouse of encouragement in the stormy sea of judgments. She interjected with supportive words, her voice invigorating, meaning energizing his resolve. "You've got this, Dwayne." "Show them what they're missing," she whispered, a smile tugging at her lips. A subtle tension hung in the air as he began delivering his lines. The room fell quiet, the only sound the soft flutter of pages as the casting panel followed along. Dwayne's voice rose with intensity, carrying a surprising depth and vulnerability that he hadn't quite realized was there. Little did he expect inversion for emphasis, auxiliary plus subject, plus bare infinitive, to captivate even himself with his own performance. In a private moment after the audition, Dwayne found a quiet corner to reflect. He had been wrestling, past perfect continuous, had plus been, plus present participle. With self-doubt for so long, it felt daunting to face the potential of change. Yet, here he was, fortified by his tenacity, meaning persistence, and buoyed by Ava's unyielding faith in his potential. She saw in him what he sometimes struggled to see in himself. Later that day, his phone buzzed with unexpected news. The casting director's voice, calm and assured, offered him a minor role. Still, to Dwayne, this offer was a giant leap toward his ambitions. It wasn't the lead, but it wasn't wrestling either. It was a start. The incipient, meaning, beginning, thrill of transformation coursed through him, electrifying every nerve. The scene closed with Dwayne standing at the edge of the lot, a silhouette against the setting sun. He contemplated the new path unfurling before him, so poignant, meaning touching, yet promising. As the sun dipped below the horizon, he felt a tug of excitement mixed with apprehension. Here lay a chance to redefine not just his career, but his identity, an opportunity he could not let slip away. Dwayne stood amidst the bustling chaos of the movie set, the air vibrating with anticipation. The scent of fresh paint lingered, mingling with the acrid tang of lighting equipment that buzzed around him. Crew members bustled about, each movement a piece of a grand puzzle. Dwayne adjusted his costume, a fitted suit that spoke of power and precision. He inhaled deeply, letting the atmosphere settle his nerves. As the cameras rolled, a transformation occurred. Dwayne's charisma, honed from years in the wrestling ring, took on a different form. Under the Klieg lights, he became the character, triumphant yet vulnerable, a duality that resonated with him deeply. Each line delivered was laced with emotions, a testament to his dedication. Not only did Dwayne excel, inversion for emphasis, auxiliary plus subject plus base form, but he also connected with something raw and real within himself. As the director called cut, a wave of relief washed over him. The crew erupted into applause, a spontaneous celebration of a performance executed with precision and heart. Critics who had previewed the footage lauded his efforts, noting his portrayal as nuanced, meaning subtly complex. The praise was gratifying, yet Dwayne couldn't shake a subtle worry that nestled in his mind like an unwelcome guest. Later, amid the organized chaos of the set, Ava approached, a steady presence in his whirlwind life. Her eyes shone with encouragement, but her voice held an edge of seriousness. "You're doing great, Dwayne," she began, her words woven with warmth. "But remember, it's important to balance ambition with authenticity." Dwayne nodded, appreciating her candidness. Ava had always been his anchor, reminding him of the importance of staying true to oneself. Her pragmatic nature, meaning practical, guided him through the labyrinth of Hollywood, where it was easy to lose one's way. Their conversation drifted into the emotional toll the role had started to take on him. The fear of being typecast, meaning assigned to a limited range of roles, nagged at the back of his mind. "What if they only see me in this light?" he voiced, a hint of vulnerability surfacing. Ava reassured him, yet she knew the industry's fickle nature. "Keep redefining what they expect," she advised, her tone firm. "You have the power to show them who you really are." The weight of her words lingered as Dwayne found a quiet corner, allowing for a moment of introspection. The aroma of coffee from a nearby cart grounded him, bringing memories of early mornings and relentless training. He reflected on his journey, from the roar of wrestling arenas to the silent, intense focus of the film set. Each step, each challenge, had shaped him into the man he was today. Dwayne's mind wandered back to conversations with Ava, her belief in his legacy unwavering. She often reminded him that resiliency was part of his DNA, a legacy of his own making. The path may shift, but his essence remained unchanged. "You are more than a role," Ava had said. "Your legacy is about resilience, about transformation." As the day drew to a close, Dwayne felt a renewed sense of purpose. The set, now quiet, seemed to echo with the energy of the day's work. He looked forward to the next challenge, the next opportunity to redefine his narrative. The hook of anticipation lingered as he left the studio. The path ahead was uncertain, but Dwayne knew one thing for sure: his journey was far from over. The world would see him as more than just a typecast. They would see him as a force of nature, unyielding and authentic. Dwayne sat alone in a dimly lit Hollywood office, the distant hum of city life filtering through the slightly open window. The murmur of traffic below mingled with the occasional honk or shout, providing a backdrop to his thoughts. He contemplated, meaning considered, his journey from wrestling to stardom, a transformation as unlikely as it was profound. The smell of leather from the couch and the subtle cologne that seemed to emanate, meaning originate, from the walls, enveloped him, grounding him in the present while his mind wandered to the past. His evolution had been nothing short of spectacular. From grappling on the mats to commanding the big screen, Dwayne felt the weight of expectation pressing upon him. Yet, it wasn't just about maintaining the sheen of fame. He imagined a legacy beyond the incandescent, meaning glowing lights of Hollywood, one where future generations might draw inspiration from his story of resilience and reinvention. Dwayne resolved to expand his influence beyond mere entertainment. The echoes of crowd cheers lingered in his memory, not as a yearning, but as a reminder of where he began. It was a call to arms to embrace roles that challenged perceptions and defied the boundaries set by an industry eager to typecast. The soft click of the door opening announced Ava's arrival. Her footsteps were light yet purposeful as they crossed the threshold, breaking the solitude with a familiar warmth. She moved with a quiet confidence, her expression as supportive and pragmatic as ever. "Dwayne," she began, her voice gentle yet firm, "it's not just about what you achieve out there. It's how you define success for yourself." Ava's words resonated, a reminder of the transformative power of his journey. He had been reflecting, meaning thinking deeply, for so long, caught between the past and the future. But her presence now brought clarity, a beacon in the swirling sea of potential paths. "You've persevered through so much," Ava continued, her eyes meeting his, filled with an admiration that buoyed him. "Your story isn't just about wrestling or films. It's about the impact you've made." Had he known the impact, auxiliary plus subject plus past participle of his choices, perhaps he might have felt less uncertainty. It was an inversion for emphasis, highlighting the unexpected nature of his trajectory. Dwayne nodded, feeling the truth of her words seep into his bones. With renewed determination, Dwayne resolved to embrace new challenges fearlessly. There was power in pushing boundaries, in redefining what was possible. Ava's support was the final puzzle piece, fitting seamlessly into the vision he constructed in his mind. As the conversation lulled, Dwayne turned toward the window, gazing out at the sprawling cityscape. The lights twinkled like stars against the encroaching night, a vision of hope and ambition. This was his stage now, a platform not only for entertainment, but for inspiration. He felt a flicker of excitement, a subtle hook pulling him forward. This was just the beginning, and the future was incandescent with possibility. Thanks for tuning in to the English Frequency Podcast. We're glad to be part of your English learning journey, from beginner to advanced. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, share, and leave a review. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and see you in the next episode.